Units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in coordination with the Security Service of Ukraine, executed a missile strike against the Russian Iskander missile system in the Bryansk region. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine published the video footage and detailed information on the operation. According to the report, the missile launcher belonging to the 26th Rocket Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces was detected near the city of Klintsy in the Bryansk region while preparing to launch an attack on a Ukrainian settlement, likely Kyiv. The targets were successfully neutralized thanks to effective intelligence and the coordinated efforts of the armed forces and the Security Service of Ukraine. One Russian missile launcher detonated, and 2 others were likely damaged. The General Staff is currently verifying the results of the strikes on the targets. However, it can already be confirmed that one of the launchers experienced a munitions detonation, as evidenced by the characteristic burning of missile fuel. If confirmed, this would represent the first documented instance of a Russian operational tactical missile system being successfully hit since the onset of the full-scale invasion in 2022. It is important to note that, despite the confirmed strike, the launchers themselves cannot be definitively identified in the publicly released footage. Furthermore, these systems can be easily mistaken for the KN-23 missile system of North Korean manufacture. Russian forces actively use the KN-23 systems to strike Ukrainian cities. As of the end of 2024, KN-23 missiles accounted for 1/3 of all ballistic missile launches against Ukraine. The destruction of enemy operational tactical missile systems is a highly challenging objective, as the crews of mobile complexes constantly change launch positions and are based at significant distances from the front line, often in border regions or even in areas not adjacent to the Ukrainian border. The launch range of ballistic and cruise missiles, up to 500 kilometers in most cases, allows enemy crews to conduct launches from considerable distances. On this occasion, launches from border areas may have been dictated by the task of striking targets deep within Ukrainian territory. In April, Militarny reported that Ukrainian strike drones attacked the base of the Russian 112th Missile Brigade, which is equipped with Iskander ballistic missiles. According to open sources, the brigade is stationed in the Yuzhny Gorodok district of Shuya-Ivanovo region. However, objective monitoring at that time did not allow for detecting damaged systems. On May 9th, one of the developers of this missile system, 74-year-old design engineer Vladimir Nedoshevin, was killed in the city of Kolomna, Moscow region. This is a visualization of the Ukrainian Spiderweb attack on the Spanish channel Informativos Telecinco.
The attack will undoubtedly be a subject of study in the military world for its audacity and effectiveness. Kiev has called it Operation Spiderweb. They had been working on it for a year and a half to introduce all those elements into Russian territory. Dozens of drones hidden in truck trailers parked very close to the air bases to be attacked. Once there, the roof was opened. Remotely, the drones with explosive charges were released and launched to attack those air bases, destroying as many planes as possible. According to Kiev, they managed to destroy 41 aircraft out of a total of 120 strategic bombers that Russia has. It is 1/3 of the total. They are strategic aircraft in Russia's nuclear deterrence, very expensive aircraft, ones that also take a long time to build. Another fundamental element demonstrating the audacity of this action by the Ukrainians is the distance at which they have executed these plans, these attacks against Russian bases, very far from the border with Ukraine. Let's look at one case, for example, what happened at the farthest base in the middle of Siberia, 5,500 kilometers from Ukrainian territory. If we look at another base in the north, it is 2,600 kilometers from that other one, from Olenia. Without a doubt, what Ukraine is doing on the battlefield is a true military revolution, which also has implications in the realm of security.
Peskov confirmed the explosion at the Kerch bridge. There indeed was an explosion. Nothing was damaged. The bridge continues to function, he said.
Взрыв действительно был, ничего не повреждено. Ничего не повреждено, мост работает, Киев продолжает, киевский режим продолжает свои попытки атаковать объекты мирной инфраструктуры. Российская сторона принимает соответствующие меры предосторожности. исходя из хорошо известной и понятной сущности киевского режима.
Hungarian Prime Minister and Putin's lapdog in Europe, Viktor Orban has declared he will do everything possible to prevent Ukraine's accession to the European Union, citing concerns for Hungarian interests and his conscience. Orban believes that EU enlargement is a noble idea, except when it comes to Ukraine's accession, which he claims is a lucrative deal for the Brussels bureaucracy in a lost war. Ukraine will drain every euro, forint and zloty we have spent on strengthening European families, farmers, and industry, he asserted. He claimed that in 10 years, he would not be able to face his conscience, grandchildren, or country if he failed to protect Hungary and the EU from Brussels' dream of Ukrainian membership. Orban used his post to promote another government study on Ukraine's EU entry, which was full of distortions and even translated online for increased circulation. What is Trump doing to ensure that an internal drone attack, similar to the SBU's special operation, does not happen in the U.S.? White House Press Secretary. The United States has the most lethal fighting force in the world. The American armed forces are the best and the largest.
What is President Trump doing to ensure that a similar internal drone attack doesn't happen here in the US, given this was done at pretty low cost, very stealthily? You know, it obviously raises questions about our own security, particularly for US aircraft here.
It absolutely does, and that's why the president nominated Secretary Hegseth and has approved some of the changes that have been made at the Pentagon to ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, and that the United States military is the best, the biggest. That's why he wants the One Big Beautiful Bill to be passed, because it increases our defense spending. It's why he also launched the announcement of the Golden Dome to prevent from missile strikes and attacks in the future. And the president has a full understanding, I can tell you because I've spoken to him about it, about the future of warfare and how drones are a big part of that. And I will not get ahead of our policy team, but I think you can expect to see some executive action on that front in the very near future.
You know what touches me deeply. How people prioritize saving their animals above all else. They leave everything behind, their belongings, their homes, but they take their dogs with them. Ukrainians are incredibly humane. May 24th, 2025. Shakov, Donetsk region, the second trip to the village. A man named Mykola returned for his dog, refusing to leave her under shelling. Now Elisa, along with the other animals, is safe. This is a true example of courage and humanity.
Кто это у нас, Алиса? Давай швидше, блядь. Ну вот, блядь. Давайте швидше, будь ласка. Ну от вони, два. Сучих хаба. Вон їхній ще другий будинок, бачите?
Света, иди, подожди, я Алису. Потом я согласен. Пошли, я даю.
Давайте, давайте.
Алису, она закрывает.
Ось така ситуація. Це Шахове, Донеччина. Зовсім близько. Це вже знак, що треба їхати. Їдемо! Черті, бля, що творять, а? Просто стирають кабами, просто. Що там? Давайте, все, тримайтеся. Їдемо. Все, виїхали ми зараз. Другий заїзд був вдалим. 24 травня. Иверская, точно. Там улыбака какое. Так, две собаки, что у нас? Три котеночка там, да, одна кишка и птахи. Сегодня мы на пташину гуляем. А, кошки, кошка, кот. Кошечка. Красуня, красуня. Тише, тише, тише. Сейчас новое место.
Нельзя.
Ну, знакомиться.
Russia is a child killer. June 4th marks the day of remembrance of children who were killed as a result of the armed aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine. According to the Office of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, as of the end of May 2025, 630 children have died as a result of Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine. The real figures may be higher, as many cases in the occupied territories, for example in Mariupol, are difficult to confirm. The Netherlands will provide Ukraine with a large military aid package in the field of maritime security, including ships, boats, and naval drones, worth a total of 400 million euros. This will include more than 100 vessels, patrol boats, transport boats, interceptors, special operations craft, so a broad array of more than 100 vessels. The package also includes over 50 naval drones, weapon systems, sensors, spare parts, and training for Ukrainian specialists. So a full package to strengthen the maritime security of Ukraine. This is very important because we do see that the Russian threats in both the Black Sea, but also around Kherson, are increasing. So this is very important for Ukraine to protect itself against that, said Dutch Defense Minister. He added that the Netherlands seeks to support Ukraine in ensuring freedom of shipping and preserving maritime trade routes. At the end of May, the Dutch Ministry of Defense confirmed the dispatch of the final batch of 24 F-16 fighter jets allocated for Ukraine. Romania and the Netherlands will jointly establish a center to train Ukrainian technical personnel for the F-16 fighter jets. The United States will not deploy its air defense systems to support the deterrence forces that the United Kingdom and France plan to deploy in post-war Ukraine. Bloomberg reported on this, citing sources familiar with the matter. European allies have concluded during talks with their American counterparts that President Donald Trump will not provide the guarantees they sought to support the European-led coalition of the willing. The unwillingness of the United States to provide the support sought by its European partners reflects the differences among Western allies over how to counter Russian aggression in Ukraine. European officials have argued that U.S. guarantees are necessary, along with strong Ukrainian forces backed by training and allied troops, to deter Russia. U.S. security guarantees are the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer stated this February. Bloomberg previously reported that the UK and France have been trying to convince Trump to use American air power, as well as support for border surveillance and intelligence. According to the sources, despite lowered expectations, Britain and France still hope that their American partners will continue to provide intelligence and monitor the Russian-Ukrainian border. European governments have adjusted their assessment and now believe that the combination of Ukrainian forces, allied training, European troops and aircraft deployed on NATO's eastern flank, and patrols in the Black Sea is sufficient. The United Kingdom and France have already finalized the location and modus operandi of the force, but have postponed the plan indefinitely until ceasefire talks resume. At the same time, some European officials also hope that Trump will intervene if British and French troops are targeted by Russia in Ukraine, but believe that he is unlikely to provide such a guarantee in writing, one source said. As Bloomberg reported in April, 15 of the 30 coalition members, including non-European countries such as Canada, Australia, Japan, and New Zealand, have offered their forces, including aircraft, warships, and other military equipment. Militarny previously reported that the U.S. Department of Defense redirected some of the air defense equipment manufactured for Ukraine to its Air Force units in the Middle East.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.